Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bienvenidos. Before we start, if we have Spanish interpretation, if you want to follow in Spanish, follow the link at the top of your screen. Para español, sigue esta link que está hacia arriba. Si se quiere unir a nuestra conversación, visite a ppls.ac/somos más. And if you're on Facebook or Periscope and want to join our conversation, follow this link, ppls.ac/getitdone. Off to you, Jody.
Welcome, welcome, everyone. We are so excited that everyone is here. We have thousands of amazing organizers and activists on the live stream, and we are here to do the people's business and get it done. I am your co-MC for tonight. I am here because in my state of New York, we were hit, one of the states hit the hardest by the pandemic, and we are facing an education crisis, housing crisis, and job crisis due to the pandemic. I am proud to be joined by our co-MC from the beautiful state of Arizona, Stephanie of Living United for Change in Arizona, or LUCHA. Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you, Jody. Yes, so excited to be here as your co-MC. And I'm glad to be joining my sister Jody from 2,000 miles away. I am the organizing director at LUCHA. I am here because I am a mother. I am the daughter of an undocumented mother, and my father is an essential worker who this entire pandemic has had to show up to work without any access to healthcare. And I know I am not alone. There are many people here in Arizona who are living these same experiences like myself. Off to you, Jody.
Yes. My senator, Chuck Schumer of New York, is now the majority leader in the Senate. He's working hard to get a comprehensive $1.9 trillion COVID relief package passed through Congress. I need him, we need him, to continue to be a champion and get it done. He's been consolidating the Democratic caucus and is currently moving on the reconciliation package. He's also going to be speaking with us tonight in a few moments.
And my Senator, Kristen Sinema, is one of the main swing votes in the US Senate. We need her to act with courage and deliver for our communities. We are not here just to talk. We are here to take action, and getting it done means that we have to make our voices be heard. That is why we need you to take out your phones. Everyone take out your phones and text the word ACT, A-C-T, to this number, 79606, as you see on your screen, and you will get a message with instructions about how to take action. We have been doing weekly phone banks here in Arizona, West Virginia, and Missouri to fight for COVID relief. These are some of the states that have some of the most important votes on this bill, and we want you to join us. Text ACT to 79606 and be trained to talk to people from across the country about how we can win COVID relief. Okay, Jody.
All right, everyone, let's get it done. Tonight, we're going to hear from members of People's Actions groups from across the country about the relief we'll need. We'll hear from my senator, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and my old boss, Senator Bernie Sanders, chair of the Budget Committee. We'll hear about why we need to get our senators and representatives to vote to seal the deal on this relief package. And we'll even take action to let them know we're expecting them to get it done. As we get rolling with the program tonight, I'm happy to start us off and introduce our musical guest for tonight, Sam Trump. And if you like his music, and I know you will, stick around because you'll be hearing him again throughout the program. Off to you, Sam.
I envision a new world. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. What about you? Let's make it a reality. I'm looking for new words, yeah, that we can speak to tell the truth. Cause we all just wanna be free. In a new world is where I want to be, helping others, and it's just because that's what I love. Look what it does, creates a bond between us. And when we form form something unbreakable. You must know it comes from above. The creator is love. Forget what it was. The future's waiting on us. So let's put together strategies. Solutions before tragedies. We've all got a price to pay each day. Communications everything. Based on the words we exchange. Speak lives, take away the pain. And let's focus today, cause time won't wait for you and I to make a change. A new world, yeah, I can see it, yeah, I can see it. What about you? Let's make it a reality. I'm looking for new words that we can speak, to tell the truth. Cause we all just wanna be free. Invest in me, cause all that's left is we. I need my sisters and my bros to get rid of the hate. So much wrong around, let's end it. Just believe all someone needs is a true hand to hold. They're willing to follow, but who's gonna take the lead? And I've got the rhythm, I've got my music, I've got my family, can't ask for anything more. And we've come together in the name of love. The vibes high up above, can't ask for anything more. Yeah, I've got the rhythm, I've got my music, I've got my family, can't ask for anything more. And we've come together in the name of love. And vibes high up above, can't ask for anything more. A new world, yeah, I can see it, and I can see it, yeah, let's make it a reality. I'm looking for new words that we can speak, hey, cause we all just wanna be free. Hey, put your hands together now. A new world. A reality, some new words, yeah, that we can speak to tell the truth. Cause we all just wanna be free. We all just wanna be free, yeah. We all just wanna be free, and we all just wanna be free. We all just wanna be, let's make it a reality, make it a reality. Yeah. Yeah. Let's make it a reality. Yeah. Yeah. Cause we all just wanna be free. New words that we can speak to tell the truth, because we all just want to be free. I envision a new world. Yes, I can see it. I can see it. What about you? Hey, together, let's make it a reality. Yeah. 'Cause we all just wanna be free. Yeah, 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 yeah. Listen. In a new world is where I want to be, helping others, and it's just because that's what I love. Look what it does, creates a bond between us. And when we form something unbreakable, you must know it comes from above. The creator is love, forget what it was. The future's waiting on us, a new world. The future's waiting on us, a new world. I envision a new world.
Yay, thank you so much, Sam Trump. That was so amazing. Okay, everyone, let's get down to business. There is so much happening at our nation's capital. We are at a grave moment in our country with a raging pandemic that has exposed massive racial disparities and made them even worse. What do you think about that, Jody?
Yes. Let's talk about where things are in DC and why we're fighting for this $1.9 trillion comprehensive relief package. Shortly after being sworn in, President Biden released a plan for what he wanted the next relief package to include. It was called the American Rescue Plan. Details of it have been moving through Congress, with a vote in the House expected tomorrow and then next week heading to the Senate. It is a big proposal and includes a lot of different types of relief that communities need. It still won't have everything we want in it, but it has a lot. And then with that passage, we can continue to fight for more.
And we want to start by highlighting the most important priorities. We are organizing to make sure it passes. A recent poll shows that 7 out of 10 Americans support it. And if it passes, this bill will do a lot of things. First, this bill will put money back into our people's pockets. And we know we need that the most. The current bill would give us $1,400 per person, including children, adult dependents, and mixed status families just like mine. Second, this bill would raise the minimum wage. This bill is a big fight right now. Essential workers, who are most Black and brown, are often making minimum wage. You cannot live off that. The minimum wage has to be $15 an hour for all workers, and we want to see that done in this bill. We just heard right before this meeting that the Senate parliamentarian ruled against including minimum wage in the bill, and it's still in the House bill. But that will be voted on tomorrow, though. The fight is not over yet. Third, this bill will extend unemployment insurance. Right now, unemployment insurance extension will end in mid-March. We need this bill to pass before these funds run out, and we need an extension through September. Back to you, Jody.
Yes, thank you, Steph. So on top of that, this bill will do more. It will expand healthcare coverage. People are not only afraid of the toll of catching COVID-19, but they're afraid of the financial burden afterwards if they were going to need medical care. We need Medicare for all, but right now we need to make sure everyone has healthcare coverage. This bill will help pay for healthcare costs. This bill will also get the vaccine out to people. We all know we first need to end the pandemic. This bill will support testing and vaccine distribution and create a new public health army. There's another silent crisis amidst the COVID pandemic, and this bill will help prevent it. Overdose crisis has been amplified throughout the pandemic, and as many as 100,000 people died in 2020 from overdoses. This bill will support harm reduction services. Stephanie, what else will the bill do?
Let's not forget another few critical things. There are so many people facing evictions, and the federal eviction moratorium does not cover those who need it the most. But this bill will provide additional funding for both covering rent and utility bills and for housing the homeless. And finally, this bill will help make local and state government whole, which right now we are running on almost nothing. We already had to cut workers, and they'll need to cut more if there isn't money to save our teachers, nurses, and firefighters. Jody, take us to our people.
Thank you, Steph. There's a lot of good stuff in this bill, and I want to take a moment and think about what relief means for you. What does it mean for your families? What does it mean for your neighbors? And what does it mean for the people we love? People's action strength comes from our member organizations and the grassroots leaders within it. They're going to share their lives and stories with us to highlight why we need to organize and win. First, I want to introduce to you Jen Wolf of one of my favorite organizations I got to work with while working at Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement, to talk to us about care and healthcare. To you, Jen.
Thanks, Steph and Jody. You guys are doing amazing. I'm Jen Wolf, a disabled occupational therapist, organizer with #Upgrade Medicaid, and member of Iowa Citizens of Community Improvement. COVID-19 changed the world for everyone, and the gaps in healthcare systems became wider. In a pandemic, everyone needs healthcare, and this Senate bill makes it so more people can get healthcare coverage and people who are uninsured can access COVID treatments. For me, part of the healthcare infrastructure that is really important is the funding for home and community-based services. This has been left out of the last 3 stimulus bills, and thankfully it's included in this one. These person-centered services assist children and people with disabilities, as well as older adults in their everyday activities, like getting dressed and bathing. This allows people like me to live and work in places that they call home rather than being forced into an institution. My friend Matt works, owns his own home, and as a quadriplegic relies on home and community-based services. Even before the pandemic, he said that he was barely surviving, not even close to thriving. Consistent cuts to Medicaid and home and community-based services have put people at risk and left individuals in bed for days without access to bathing, toileting, and even food, primarily due to low wages of our caregivers. We need to make sure funding gets to the people needing care and our essential care workforce, and not the insurance companies managing our care. I've been involved in disability advocacy for about 10 years, and like other social justice movements, policies have been seeming to move backwards. This stimulus bill is a start in filling the gaps of the healthcare system and building back the infrastructure that no one who is aging or disabled should be denied the freedom to live the life they choose in the place they choose to live it. The cuts to care happening to the disability community, my community, will only continue and impact more Americans if we don't start working to create a real healthcare system and infrastructure that puts people of all abilities and all backgrounds ahead of corporate profit. Not only so that we are better prepared for the next crisis, but because it's the right thing to do. Thank you, and passing the mic back to Steph.
Thank you so much, Jen, for your long record of organizing. Another huge issue for us right now is housing. The pace of evictions is only escalating, and people need help. Let's hear JENAY MANLEY of Kansas City Tenants and our Homes Guaranteed campaign.
Thank you, Steph. My name is JENAY MANLEY, and I'm a leader with KC Tenants in Kansas City, Missouri. Last March, when the pandemic hit, I was working overnight shifts at Quick Trip. Even before COVID, I was barely able to pay my bills and keep a roof over our heads. The pandemic created more chaos for my family. My 6-year-old twins, Lily and Avery, were sent home from school and I couldn't afford childcare. That meant I went from working the graveyard shift by night to full-time care provider by day. For weeks on end, I was lucky if I got 30 minutes of sleep in a given day. It broke me as a person. I had to go to part-time at work to regain some sanity. But then I fell behind on rent. Every month on the 1st, when rent is due, I have an anxiety attack. I applied for rental assistance over the summer from a local church, but it took months for me to receive their support. So many people in my position never get approved, or they got the funds only to have their landlords reject them. This whole thing was a mess. If the government really cared for my family and families like ours, they would have canceled rents and mortgage payments, period. Through budget reconciliation, Congress is proposing another $20 billion in rental assistance. This time, it comes with better guidance for states and cities. If landlords refuse the money, it can go directly to tenants. We are also told the funds will move faster. That's good, and Congress should pass this package. The relief is months overdue. All I can think about right now is March 1st. That's next Monday. Rent is due again for the 12th time during a pandemic, when we really should have been paid to stay in our homes. We need Congress to pass this bill, and we need and deserve so much more. We need universal rental debt cancellation, and we need a real eviction moratorium. We need a homes guarantee. This is not a time for incrementalism. It is time to tear down the systems that hurt us and start building a world that will heal. Back to you, Steph.
Yes, thank you, JENAY. We have to be big and bold. Another big issue that needs to pass in the current relief bill is direct cash payments. I know about this personally because it affects families like mine, families that include US citizens and people who are undocumented. Again, what we really need is recurring payments for everyone that pays through the pandemic, but right now, we'll take what's in the bill. Let's watch this video to learn more.
I think you're going to see a very, very significant economic layout to address the crisis facing working families all across this country. What does it mean? It means, in my view, direct checks.
Mi nombre es Virginia y soy residente de Colorado hace más de 18 años. Trabajo en servicio por más de 10 años ahora. Y la razón por la que hago este video es que creo que merecemos tener una ayuda también, puesto que somos los inmigrantes los que hemos seguido trabajando. Ahora con esto del COVID ha sido muy difícil mantener mi casa, ya que yo soy madre soltera con 2 hijos. He tenido que buscar cómo salir de todos mis gastos, de la renta, de las utilidades, de los biles. Creo que es justo poder decir que pago igual de impuestos que las personas que están recibiendo un cheque, y creo que es un derecho humano el poder recibir algo para poder seguir adelante construyendo para este gran país. En nombre de mis hijos, yo les pido que tomen en cuenta a todos estos millones de personas que cuando perdieron trabajos o perdieron horas, hemos salido a las calles a tratar de conseguir dinero. Muchas gracias.
Yes, thank you to Virginia of Colorado's People's Action Alliance for sharing that story. It's people like Virginia that are the reason why we need to pass this bill. And this is something that Student Action is working on, because cash payments affect students too. So remember, using your cell phone, text the word ACT to the number 79606 to tell your elected representative to pass relief now. And like I said, we need our senators to be champions. And based on the issues we heard so far, like care, housing, and cash, we need to know, where do our elected leaders stand? My Senator, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, couldn't join us live tonight, but we received a video from him. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello, People's Action, and this is Senator Chuck Schumer. to our incredible MCs, to Jody Risper of Citizen Action of New York, and Stephanie Maldonado of Lucha in Arizona. I am so glad to be with you and thankful for you too. You're incredible organizers, incredible leaders, and it's because of you that people can come together to effect real, lasting, bold change. Friends, we've been through so much this year. The worst health crisis since the Spanish flu pandemic 100 years ago, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression 75 years ago, and last summer after the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, whose death we mourn this week, the greatest reckoning we've seen against systemic racism since the civil rights movement of the 1960s. We are on a mission in 2021 and beyond, not just to heal the wounds of our nation, but to lay the foundation for real, lasting progress and real, lasting justice. That's why we have to pass President Biden's rescue plan as soon as possible and give our country the help it needs to end this pandemic and get our lives going again. But we must do much more than that. And it's because all of you who work day and night to bring up a new era of leadership in Washington that I am confident we can get more done. In this COVID bill, we're going to deliver unemployment assistance for people who've lost their jobs through no fault of their own, increase the stimulus checks from 600 to 2,000 so working families can get the help they need to make ends meet, including the millions of children of immigrant families who deserve help just like everyone else, to provide food assistance so people cannot starve, they can pay the groceries, we want to extend rental assistance so they don't get kicked out of their houses. We will supercharge our vaccine funding and work to keep the vaccine free and make sure that communities of color get the first focus and not the last on the list. And we will rebuild our economy so that people can earn a better living wage and work towards that $15 minimum federal wage, make sure that nobody who works behind has to languish in poverty. Our sleeves are rolled up. We're working hard to get all of this done. And we're going to do more than that once we get this bill done. We have so much to do in America. But we need you, all of you, to keep speaking up, reaching out, keeping up the pressure. So People's Action, thank you. Thank you to Jody at Citizens Action of New York, Stephanie at Lucha. I'm confident together we'll get the job done. Now back over to you.
Thank you, Majority Leader Schumer, for your leadership in this moment and for sharing a message with us all. Well, that was great. The senator responded to a lot of the priorities we put in front of him, from housing to cash payments. We are counting on him to get the caucus together and get it done. We want to keep hearing from our own people. I want to introduce everyone to April LOPOSSA from Hoosier Action, who has been organizing on overdose crisis and is going to share a very important story. Hello, April.
Thank you, Steph. My name is April LOPOSSA. I live in a rural town in Indiana, and I'm a leader with Moms of Hoosier Action. I lost my job during the pandemic because the company I worked for wouldn't agree to the accommodations I needed throughout my pregnancy, during which I was diagnosed with a rare cancer that was likely caused by the contaminated water in our town. After losing half of our family's income, I couldn't have afforded the expensive life-saving medication that I am on now without Medicaid. I also understand the struggles of addiction. Several members of my family have struggled, including my father. I'd like to share my dad's story today since he can't. My father struggled with addiction for my entire life and most of his. Because of his addiction, I watched him go in and out of jail and in and out of homelessness. He would get out of jail for 2 to 3 weeks at a time and then go back in. Being locked up was the only solution offered to his addiction issues. He ended up losing his life shortly after the last time he was released. He got into a fight, and because the other people there were high, they were too afraid to call 911, all because they didn't want to go to jail. It was 11 hours before anybody found him, and if they would have called, he might still be alive. Now he isn't in his grandkids' lives, which is devastating. My father never had the opportunity for a different life like so many others. We should not be incarcerating people for drug use. We need deeper investment in compassionate responses to the overdose crisis and drug use by investing in harm reduction services. During the COVID-19 pandemic, drug overdose rates have skyrocketed. 2020 is the worst year in recorded history for preventable drug overdose deaths. The $30 million included in the relief package to support harm reduction programs gives me hope that people like my dad will have opportunities outside of incarceration. This relief package is so important, but it's just a first step. We need a system that saves lives. I don't want anyone to have to experience the same thing my family did when we lost my dad. Thank you. Throwing it over to you, Jody.
Wow, what a powerful story. If we all can just take 10 seconds and sit with what April shared and think about it and think of what that means in the terms of this relief bill. People are suffering during this pandemic. They are losing loved ones. They should not have to lose more. And meanwhile, Wall Street's been doing fine. What about us? What about jobs? The good news is that the federal government can make big, bold moves by creating jobs that reach our communities and achieve climate justice. I want you to listen to Candice, a leader with Illinois People Action. Thank you, Candice.
Thanks, Jody. Hi, everyone. My name is Candice with Illinois People's Action. When the pandemic first started, I was already in a position of struggling and living paycheck to paycheck, and COVID just added fuel to that fire. When we were ordered to shut down, I found myself struggling to feed my family and my children, and as well as pay my bills. So like so many other single mothers in this brutal patriarchal economy, we were all going through something. We were down to our last few meals when thankfully our community stepped up with donations and we were able to survive. When my job reopened, I was considered an essential employee, but I did not have any essential help. My mother was the only source of childcare, and since she was immunocompromised, I couldn't leave my child with her and I still was unable to work. So through continued organizing and volunteer work, I was eventually offered an employment position that I could do from home. So fast forward to present, I work at the YWCA with YW Strive program, where we have an overall broad goal to help women and people of color get high-paying green jobs in solar. And the struggle to get women into dignifying and empowering jobs is becoming my life's work because it's rooted in my life story. This COVID relief bill is critical, and not just because so many of us need to survive, but because its passage will unlock the possibility for more structural change. It will pave the way for a bold recovery agenda, which could also address systemic racism and healing other historic inequalities and inequities. But this bill is just the beginning, and we need you to take action to make it a reality. I told my story during a COVID seminar for our city council. I encourage all of you to tell your stories too, because when we stand up and fight back and speak out, we win. Thank you so much. I'll pass it back to you, Stephanie.
Yes. Senator Sanders will join the call at 8:45 p.m. Eastern. Oh. Yes, thank you, Candice. That kind of breakthrough would mean so much for us here in Arizona, where we have massive job gaps for Black and Brown communities and a big climate crisis. As I shared earlier, one of the biggest issues for debate in DC right now is raising the minimum wage. We heard that the state Senate parliamentarian voted that it could not be included in the Senate bill. The fight's not over. We can still get this done. with enough votes. And to get this done, we will need the support from important senators like Senator Sinema here in Arizona and Senator Manchin of West Virginia. We're lucky to be joined next by Alex Gallo of West Virginia Citizen Action Group. Hi, Alex.
Thank you so much, Steph, and thanks everyone for being here this evening. My name is Alex. I'm here in Charleston, West Virginia, and it is an honor to speak, share a little bit about why I'm here. This little dude right here, my pride and joy, my son Jack, is the reason why I do what I do. Just a month before the pandemic, in February of 2020, I found myself unexpectedly unemployed after having worked for the city government for just over a year. I was unemployed, and to be honest, those unemployment checks kept food on our table and a roof over my head and my son's head. And fortunately, I found great part-time work with this lovely organization here in West Virginia, West Virginia Citizen Action. And when I was on the brink of some of the darkest times in my life, where I think most of us have been experiencing or know someone that's experienced some dark times over this last year and even before the pandemic, because quite honestly, these systems have been broken for far too long. And West Virginia, the people of West Virginia have been hurting, and we need Joe Manchin's voice in DC to carry the weight of what the future will look like for all of us. For far too long, companies and outside interests in the state of West Virginia have treated our citizens like pawns in a game of chess that the great people of West Virginia will never win. But we know that a better world is possible. We know that our communities and our people deserve way more than what we're given. And these companies tell our people to just knock down their king because they're going to lose anyway. As the chairman of the Senate Energy Committee and as a key swing vote in the United States Senate, Senator Manchin is able to amplify the voices of our former coal miners, natural gas workers, and plant workers, allowing the hardworking individuals of the state of West Virginia to finally have a voice. Joe Manchin serves as a conduit for change, and we're excited to be a part of something bigger that allows West Virginia a seat at the table. So thank you all so much for being here, and I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Alex. Your work in West Virginia is so important. It's going to take all of us to win the minimum wage increase and other things our people and communities need. Now it's time for each of us to step up, just like all of our leaders on this call. And then we will hear from Senator Sanders. We are going to try something a bit different tonight. We are going to take action all together, all at once. We are going to call our elected officials together. Okay, we'll be leaving messages, but still, we urge you to we're gonna urge them to get it done and pass the relief bill. And then we're going to report out how many calls we have made at the end of it. So here's how we're gonna do it. If you haven't already, text the word ACT, ACT, to the number 79606. You'll get on our list and you'll be able to sign up to make calls or send text with us into West Virginia, Arizona, Missouri, and to win COVID relief. Then I'm asking each of you to join right now to call, email, and tweet to your legislators. You'll see a link in the chat, ppls.ac/COVID/relief. Follow that link to take action to our site. Put in your address, click on call my officials. Make your first call, which should only take a few minutes. Then we will come back together to hear how many calls we have made. We are in the final critical weeks before the next COVID relief bill is voted on. And making sure Congress knows where we stand. Let's get it done. And again, after this song, we will make our call and we will hear from Senator Sanders. To accompany us in taking action together, we're going to welcome back Sam Trump. So while he's playing, please click on the link and make your first call.
We are all in this together. Don't ever think that you are alone. If ever you're falling, I'll be there to catch you. With no place to call home, I'll be your refuge. Just hold on. When times get hard, just push through. And breathe in your second wind. It ain't over till you reach the end. Everybody needs somebody, and sometimes it's just for inspiration. That charity that's best known as love. It's the greatest thing you can give up, yeah. Just hold on when times get hard. Just push through. Yeah, and breathe in your second wind. It ain't over till you reach the end. Just hold on when times get hard. Just push through and breathe in.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sam Trump. Great work calling your elected officials. We are having an awesome night, and we heard from our grassroots leaders who told us why these fights were so important. We'll soon be hearing from Senator Sanders, our champion who joined us. And we just recently heard from Senator Schumer, who's been leading the fight with us. And here is our tallies from taking action just now. We had 797 people take action. Everyone give yourself a pat on the back. We sent 1,073 emails. We sent 94 texts, and we made 71 calls. That is a great start. and we can do more. You can use the same link to call, tweet, and email again tomorrow, and share it with your friends. Share it on all your social medias. We only have power if we have people power, and we have to keep doing this until we get this done.
Great work, everyone. We are organizing every day, and thankfully, we have some really strong allies in our nation's capital, and one is here with us tonight. He needs no introduction, really, but he's now in charge of the Senate Budget Committee that oversees this relief bill, and will likely be dealing with infrastructure and recovery next. It is my great pleasure to introduce Theo Burney.
Thank you so much. And let me thank all of you and all of the grassroots organizations in this country for what you are doing. And I think sometimes we kind of forget the impact that we have had on this nation. Because of your efforts, we took on and we defeated the most dangerous president in the history of America, somebody who was trying to undermine American democracy. We did it through grassroots activism. We worked at the grassroots level in Georgia, where we won 2 Senate seats. You guys did that. And I want to thank you all very, very much for that. What we are working on now, and as chairman of the Budget Committee, I will have a significant role in that, is what we call a reconciliation process. It's a complicated, inside the Beltway Senate rule thing, but it is a mechanism by which we can avoid having to get the 60 votes we can't get and pass significant legislation with 50 votes, plus the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. That will give us 51 votes, which is what we need. So what this first bill is about, which I think will be coming to the floor of the Senate, I believe, next week. And what this bill does is it looks around this country and says, what's going on with working families? What do we have to do to respond? So we understand that the pandemic is terrible. We understand that 500,000 people have already died. Many more have become sick. So we are investing billions of dollars to make sure that we increase vaccine production and we get those vaccines out in every state and region in this country, including medically underserved areas where people don't have access to the health care that we need. And the goal is obviously to vaccinate everybody in America as quickly as we can, and we're putting many billions of dollars into that. Second of all, I don't have to tell anybody, especially the young people, that this has been a terrible, terrible year in terms of education. Kids have been unable to go to school. I'm talking about first graders through graduate school because of this COVID pandemic. So what we are doing again is putting a whole lot of money into education to strengthen our schools so that they can reopen in a way that is safe. How do you get kids on a school bus and make sure that it's safe? How do you make sure that teachers are safe? How do you make sure that kids are safe? And by the way, we're putting billions of dollars into after school and summer school programs. A lot of the young people and their parents understand the kids have some makeup work to do this summer. And we're investing in what will probably be the most comprehensive set of summer programs throughout America. All of you work really hard to make sure that in the midst of this terrible pandemic, working class people were able to get direct payments to help them pay the rent, go to the doctor, pay for childcare, and all the other basic needs. As you recall, a month ago, we took on everybody, by the way. Nobody, very few people were sympathetic to direct payments. And all we could get in the first package that passed, the $900 billion one, was $600 for every working class person. This time we've increased that. We've added to that $600 another $1,400, equaling $2,000 in total. And this goes to every individual making $75,000 or less, a couple making $150,000 or less. And if you have kids, every one of those children will be getting a check the equivalent of a check of $1,400 as well. So a family of four, when we pass this, will be able to get a check of $5,600. And that is a lot of money for people who are struggling. And you guys made that happen. Nobody thought we could do that, but we got that into the bill. If you're unemployed out there, and we have unemployment of about 10% right now, we are going to extend unemployment benefits through September with a $400 supplement on top of people's normal unemployment. $400 more plus your regular unemployment through September. That is not an insignificant thing. Let me tell you what else is in this bill, which the media doesn't talk about virtually at all. We have a terribly high rate of childhood poverty, especially in the Native American communities. It is outrageous in some cases compared to developing countries in terms of the poverty our children are experiencing. This bill expands the child tax credit and makes it refundable. So even if you don't pay any taxes, you're going to get assistance, which studies indicate, listen to this, can reduce child poverty by 50%. How's that? Cutting childhood poverty in half. That's in this bill. This bill will provide hundreds of billions of dollars to state and local governments so they don't have to start or continue to lay off workers. They can rehire teachers, firefighters, municipal employees, and so forth. Whole lot of money going into nutrition so that working families and low-income people in this country do not go hungry. We are going to put money into not only maintaining the moratorium on evictions, but helping people pay their rent. We also deal with pensions. A lot of workers out there, older workers, we're going to lose half of the pensions that have been promised to them. We deal with that. We protect those pensions. And that is some of what is in this enormous bill. Now, let me tell you about a setback that I just learned about an hour ago. As all of you know, all of us together have demanded an end to starvation wages in America. We know that a $7.25 federal minimum wage is insane. It is a starvation wage, and we got to raise it to at least $15 an hour over the next several years. Without boring you about the incredibly obtuse and undemocratic rules of the Senate, turns out that an unelected person, who's called a parliamentarian of the Senate, can determine whether the minimum wage provision was germane to the overall bill. And just an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, she ruled that it was not. It was not. And I strongly disagree with her. And we have the absurd situation. 60% of the American people in polls want to raise the minimum wage. House of Representatives has voted to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. President of the United States wants a $15 an hour minimum wage. And I believe that in a large package, we can barely, but we could do it, get the Senate to approve that. And yet you got an unelected parliamentarian using, because of the Senate rules that we have, saying that we cannot do it, denying 30 million Americans a pay raise. So we're going to deal with this. We're not, I don't want anybody out there to think that we're giving up. We got a number of ideas about how we're going to come back, but that is certainly not good news. So let me also say that after we finish this significant piece of legislation, and really when you think about, and I've just touched on some of what's in it, and there's a lot more that I didn't get into, we're going to come back and do another reconciliation bill, which begins to deal with more systemic problems facing this country, long-term problems like a crumbling infrastructure and the need to transform our energy system in order to deal with the existential threat of climate change and other things as well, many other things. So that bill, you know, people are beginning to work on it, but we're not going to really get into it until after we pass this one. And what the goal of that bill, among other things, the second bill, is to create many, many, many millions of good paying jobs. So there's a program in there that I love. It's called the Civilian Conservation Corps. It will put young people to work, helping us fight climate change, helping us to protect our environment. And we're going to have tens of thousands of jobs for young people. So there's a lot of work to be done. So let me just conclude by saying this. We are taking on all of the moneyed interests. We're taking on the Republicans. We're taking on conservatives in the Democratic Party. But we are making significant progress. But we cannot succeed unless the grassroots organize, educate, and demand that we have a government that works for all of us and not just the few. So a lot of other issues out there. We got immigration reform coming. We got criminal justice reform coming. We got systemic racism and the need to deal with that coming. And you name it. But we have got to finally start addressing the needs of the working families of this country and not just the people on top. So that's kind of where we are. And again, I want to thank all of you. I want you to pat yourselves on the back. I really do. And I mean this sincerely. You may not realize it, but you have played an enormous role in helping us to transform this country. Clearly, we have a long, long way to go, but we are making progress. Let's go forward together. I just want to thank all of you.
Thank you so much, Senator Sanders. And I just want to follow up with the question for you. So we are with you on thinking that we need to win this relief bill for the people now, all 1.9 trillion of it. And we're interested in the job and recovery priorities that will come next. We know it's what our families, communities, and the planet need. But there's also a reason why winning some concrete things now is critical for positioning us for the next 2 years and beyond. Can you speak to that a little? And what's so critical about big wins in the first 100 days of a new administration?
Thank you so much for that great question. Look, I don't have to tell anybody that so many people are demoralized politically. They don't vote. They don't think politicians understand what they're going through, the pain that they're experiencing. And you may knock on their door and say, leave me alone. They're all full of shit. I don't want to participate. I don't want to waste my time voting. And the way we change that attitude is when we deliver real victories to people. Now, unless I'm mistaken, God knows anything can change in a minute. Within the next several weeks or a month or whatever, every working class person in this country and their children is going to get a check of $1,400. Do you think that's real? I think it's real. And I think people are going to get that check and be able to pay their rent or buy the food that they need or pay for childcare. And they're going to understand that that came because of the fights that you helped wage and we all worked on. And we are going to make sure that parents see an expansion of the child tax credit. They're going to get a refundable check so that we're going to deal with the problems of childhood poverty. In other words, to get people to feel good about democracy and the political process, you got to show them something that's real. You can't just bullshit. You got to deliver. And this bill begins. I'm not here to tell you it's the end all. It is not. But it begins to deliver real, tangible benefits for working class people. And when we do that, people say, oh, I didn't know that. Government can actually do something for me, not the rich. And then we keep going and we talk about health care for all people as a right and making sure that all kids get a college education regardless of their income. So thank you for that question. And it's not only, it is exactly what we have to do to get people to feel positive about democracy and the role of government in their lives.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much again, Senator Sanders. And thank you to my co-MC, Jody, and to all of the grassroots leaders who shared their life with us. Thank you. Congratulations on taking action. Remember to take action today, tomorrow, the day after, and after that. Let's get it done. Y acuérdense, la lucha sigue. Now, to close out this amazing night, we're going to bring back our musical guest, Sam Trump. Thank you everyone again for joining us and have an awesome night. Take us out, Sam.
Remember how we partied way back in the day? It was a good vibe always from the music that we used to play. And we would have it our way, dancing on the floor. We put that thing on replay. I love the way it touched my soul. Yeah. Somewhere we messed up. And tell me, how could we let up the distractions that set up to keep us from spreading love? Spread love, spread love. Now tell me what's up, what's up, what's up, hey. At times we got off track, but we know the way. We managed to find our own way back, yeah, we know the way. To the people of today, we know the way. We know you see us, believe us, we know the way. 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 Remember hearing elders not feeling what they used to say, and they were only trying to help us, but we be like, yeah, okay. But it was preparation for what we didn't know. Tradition and innovation, they taught us the way to go. At times we got off track, but we know the way. We managed to find our own way back, yeah, we know the way. Yeah. To the people of today, we know the way. We know you see us, believe us. Hey, can y'all say that with me? We know the way now, come on. At times we got off track, but we know the way. Yeah, we managed to find our own way back, yeah, we know the way. Yeah, yeah, to the people of today, we know the way. We know you see us, believe us, we know the way. We know the way. Yeah, we know the way. We know the way. Yeah, we know the way. We know the way. Yeah. Yeah, we know the way. We know the way. At times we got off track. We managed to find our own way back. Here we are. Yeah. Yeah. Correction was necessary, but a little lesson never hurt nobody. I dance different, now I'm over 30, but two-step in ain't never brought me worries. A light heart will keep it working. Found some purpose, but I'm still searching. I thank God I started early. Give a nod when I'm walking by, cause a little respect ain't never hurt nobody. I acknowledge you when you're passing through. Hospitality is here for you. We break bread, conversing true. Build bridges and teach the youth. Life's a cycle with some things new. Hey, come on now. At times we got off track, but we know the way. Say that with me. We managed to find our own way back, yeah, we know the way. To the people of today, we know the way. We know you see us, believe us, we know